I'd like to call the Winton Woods City School District Board of Education meeting to order. Today is Monday, May 19th, 2014. Would you stand with me to say the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Seymour, will you call the roll?
Mr. Cleary?
Present.
Dr. Johnson?
Here.
Mrs. Miranda?
Here.
Mr. Pennicuff?
Here.
Mrs. Burns?
Here. 2.01 District Honors, Recognitions, Gifts, and Introductions. Mr. Smith?
Yes, Madam President. Is Chaz Moss here? Chaz, you have to be here. All right. I'll read a little bit about Chaz anyway. The Characters Key Award recipient is for perseverance, and that student is Chaz Moss. Chaz is a third grader at Winton Woods Elementary School. His teacher, Ms. McGuire, writes, you have to listen to this one carefully. This really touches you. Chaz Moss is the perfect example of perseverance. He recently lost his house to a fire. He only missed one day and wanted to return to school as soon as possible. He didn't even mention that his house had burned down. He walked into school with a smile on his face, even though he had lost almost everything. He was worried that he might get in trouble for not having a uniform shirt on. His parents could only find a navy blue t-shirt. He and his parents were more concerned that Chaz receive his education rather than focusing on what material things they had lost. Chaz is an unbelievable student who understands that you can lose everything, but with an education you can always get the materialistic things back. Education is the key to succeeding in life. He is a perfect example that we will all hope to emulate in the face of any adversity, and that came from his teacher, Ms. McGuire, third grade teacher. That's a story. Wow, absolutely. Chaz, I'm calling for you one more time. Still not here. If he comes in, bring him to the front, someone. Okay. All right, our next award is the Gold Star Student of the Month Award for May. And this goes to Irene Oniawa. Okay, all right. Irene has a bio like this big, so I'll read just a few lines. With enthusiasm, I write this letter of support for Irene. Irene is a highly self-actualized, self-motivated student who is able to juggle a number of activities at once. She is active in our school and in our community while continuing to perform at the highest level academically. I can't say enough about Irene. She is in a class of her own when it comes to hardworking and treating people right. She is the type of person that anyone would love to have as a daughter. Irene is very prepared both academically and socially. She takes her studies seriously and works hard to keep her 3.99 grade point average and her class rank of 7 out of 269 students. She's in challenging honors and AP courses. She has taken the classes that she needs to prepare for a rigorous college curriculum, and she is currently a member of the National Honor Society. And finally, her classwork is always prompt, thorough, logical, articulate, and polished. Irene not only does what is asked of her, but goes beyond and produces her highest quality of work. Wow, powerful.
That were given to those two kids, even though they're not here.
Yes. This is Irene receives the Kiwanis Gold Star Student of the Month, and of course Chaz received the Characters Key Award. So we wanted to let you know. Thank you, Mr. McNeil and the Kiwanis for their support. Thank you. All right, next, Ms. Sharon Green. Is Ms. Green here? Thank you. We found someone. All right. Ms. Green is a member of our faculty as a classroom assistant who sponsors the Recycling Club. She has invested countless hours in helping students to understand the importance of recycling. Her Recycling Club has collected over 18,000 cans, which resulted in over $300 for a donation to St. Jude's Research. Ms. Green, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Randolph.
Yes.
Bring them all. Who's ever with Mr. Randolph,
Lisa and
come on
Laura.
up.
Lisa and Laura. Oh, yeah. I didn't know you were back there. These are the other people that helped me. I don't want to take any credit.
All right, I'll start reading while we bring the whole family up. Mr. Randolph is a longtime parent in the district who has given countless time and money to landscape and maintain the flower beds of the Winton Woods High School Stadium. For the last 3 years, he has beautified our stadium ground with flowers and enlists student volunteers to help him in this effort, the latest of which occurred on May 11th. The Board of Education deeply appreciates Mr. Randolph's investment in our school. We also want to thank the following who gave their time to give back to the school and community on May 11th by planting flowers with Mr. Randolph, and I'm sure that they are already here. Jordan Randolph.
Not here. At tennis tonight.
Do you know any Mr. Randolph? Okay, all right.
From birth.
Mark is from Germany. Fantastic. Mark, you've been here before, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right. Lisa, student from Germany. Thank you, Lisa. Julian.
He was not part of this event.
You didn't do it?
I can do it, but
But you had your name on the list.
We
All
were
right.
expecting him, but
So
he
guess
didn't
what
show.
this means? That means we have some work for him to do later. All right. Lena.
She wasn't there either.
Okay. Martina. Fantastic. Did you actually do it, dear? Okay, very good.
She got very overheated,
Very good.
but she did.
Joey.
I'm representing Joey.
All right.
And she planted flowers on Mother's
Yes.
Day.
Miss Wilkie.
I didn't plant. I just organized.
But she
the
took
drawing.
she took photos though.
And host mom, Miss Jackie Mayer.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for all the service to our school district. And where's Martina? Martina, we missed you before, so we have something special for you. All right?
Oh, what's that?
Martina's our exchange student from Italy who came to Winton Woods in March. Martina, we would like to recognize you with a medal and a certificate for coming to our district. We hope your stay at Winton Woods has been an enjoyable one. Thank you, Martina.
Thank you.
All right, fantastic. All right, we're going to press rewind for a bit. Chaz, come on up. We already read all about you. But you know what? You know, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Come here. Can I read this again? All right. Chaz Moss is the perfect example of perseverance. He recently lost his house to a fire and only missed 1 day of school and wanted to return as soon as possible. He didn't even mention if the house had burned. Wow. He walked into school with a smile on his face even though he lost almost everything. He was worried that he might get in trouble for not having on that good old uniform shirt. His parents could only find a navy blue shirt. He and his parents were more concerned. Where's his parents? Wow. He and his parents were more concerned that Chaz receive an education rather than focusing on what material things they had lost. Wow, that's the kind of families we have in the district. That's powerful. Chaz is an unbelievable student who understands that you can lose everything, but in education you can always get the materialistic things back. Bravo. You know, I had to think about this. When I grow up, I want to be like Chaz. That's what I'm going to do. Thank you. We're proud of you. Yes, Mr. McMillan will present this auspicious award.
Oh, my. Hi, Chaz. You're going to get this nice little thing that you can put on the wall at home. And this you can take to the Barnes & Noble bookstore and get some books with it. But your character of perseverance, within that character of an individual lies the welfare of the nation. It's character that enables the individual to survive, to endure, and to transcend the negative, which you certainly have done. Your values reflect your commitment to be a student of good character to your peers. You set a great example. Your teachers, your parents, and your community, and congratulations.
Wow.
I was remiss. I didn't realize I had some additional awards to hand out when they were standing up here with Mr. Randolph. Mark? You said press rewind, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Lisa?
Why don't you call their last names too?
Okay. Julian Martinez Ibanez.
All right.
That's the best I can do. I know you said you didn't do it, but you get a certificate anyway.
At the bottom, Julia, it says you owe us work.
Lena. We'll make it quick. And Martina. Joey. And Jackie. You get one as well. And Lewis. You get both. Thank you. Thank you. And Mr. Randolph, there's one for Jordan. We'll make it easy for you.
All right. I have to say something. I recognize you. You were the candle, right? Okay. I kept thinking, I want to meet that kid. You did. You were absolutely amazing. Yes, I felt like I was there. All right. The next award is the Extra Mile Parent Award. And when you've got great parents in your district, you can do anything. So this is very, very special. This award is giving an honor and recognition of outstanding parent involvement in the Winton Woods City Schools throughout the years that their child has attended school in our district. This year we have 4 sets of recipients. Mr. and Mrs. Michael and Debbie Day.
Can I read this? Sure. All of our parents, I think, have the same inscription, but this is no joke. This is kind of heavy. This says Extra Mile Parent Award, Michael and Debbie Day, May 2014, in recognition of above and beyond service to the students and staff of the Winton Woods City School District.
Mr. Dave Bell, our District Fine Arts Facilitator and High School Choral Director, writes this about Michael and Debbie Day. Debbie is a past president of Music Boosters and current treasurer of the Performing Arts Boosters. Debbie and Michael have spent long hours managing the soccer concessions for the stadium. In addition, they can be found working virtually every outdoor event in the stadium and are often chaperones for music events. Debbie has also played a very active role in the WWCS PTA over the years. Debbie and Michael Day, thank you very much. Connie Irby. Miss Irby has been part of the Music Boosters for over 6 years. She chaperones virtually every concert, often serves as the contact person for seeking out parent volunteers to support our music events. Present you, Miss Connie Irby.
Thank you.
Miss Irby, is that your son?
Yes, it
He is extremely talented. All right. Okay. Next, Mr. and Mrs. Todd and Eileen Monero. Mr. Bell says the following. Eileen has been involved in the Performing Arts Boosters as a board member, Friends of the Theater, Music Boosters, and as a PTA officer for a number of years. Eileen is also an incredibly supportive person and often helps out wherever she sees a need. Eileen and Todd, like the Day family, can be found working most of the outdoor events held in the stadium. Thank you again. And there. And finally, for the Extra Mile Parent Awards for 2014, Mr. and Mrs. Reginald Sylvester. And Mr. Bell does a lot of writing. Mr. Bell writes the following about Mr. and Mrs. Sylvester. Reggie is currently the president of the new Performing Arts Boosters and has put in long hours into collecting the necessary paperwork and guiding the group through the process of establishing nonprofit status. He has also spent an enormous number of hours managing aspects of the concession stand and doing much of the ordering of the outdoor concessions. Reggie and his wife, Renee, can be found working almost every event held in the stadium. Reggie has worked hard over the years to help our parent organization group together to help support our students. Congratulations to this year's Extra Mile parents. Irene, hello. How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay, I only read half of your story, so I can read the other part. Okay. All right, right there, in case you want to say something.
Okay.
All right. All right. Irene is someone you want on your team. She comes to school every day with a smile on her face and looks for ways to serve others. She's an active member of our Key Club service organization and also serves at Matthew 25, a local food pantry and globally focused outreach organization. Irene also gave 130 hours of her time this past summer as a student ambassador at our Chinese summer camps. This was a great experience for her as she engaged in activities with students from 6 different Chinese high schools. However, what impresses me most about Irene is the way she took the initiative to create a community event to create awareness surrounding the topic of child marriage. Irene and a few of her friends cooked a spaghetti dinner, advertised for the event, sold tickets, and created a presentation to create awareness in our community for what is taking place around the world concerning child marriage. Then they took the proceeds from the event and gave them to a charity that works with child brides. Over my 14 years working at our high school, I've yet to see a group take that kind of initiative and then execute the event flawlessly without the help of adults. Irene makes things happen. Irene is also involved in our extracurricular programs. She's a 3-year member of our track and field team and also runs cross country and is a member of our academic quiz team. I'm confident that Irene has the desire, the motivation, and the ability to succeed in her pursuit of higher education. Her growth and experience combined with her strong social and leadership traits have produced a student who I believe will make an impact on the world. I emphatically recommend Irene for this opportunity. Kevin Jones, counselor. Wow. You can say something.
Well, I'd like to thank Mr. Jones. That was really nice of him to nominate me for this. I'd like to thank my friends for helping me with the community service event. and all of you guys for honoring me.
Irene, could you tell us what your plans are for next year?
Well, I plan on doing the post-secondary at Miami Hamilton, and I don't know, I plan on doing the spaghetti dinner again next year also for the Girls Not Brides organization.
Great.
She's a junior.
I'm a junior, yes.
Yeah, okay, so we get to have you again.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. McMillan, present that award, please.
My pleasure. Irene, as the student of the month, Kiwanis is very pleased to provide you with, present you with this Student of the Month award. The Gold Star Kiwanis Student of the Month, made for Winton Woods High School for your outstanding academic achievement, enthusiasm, and commitment to service in the community in your school district. And I don't know what this card's gonna do for your diet if you're on the trunk team, but it's worth $25 at the
Thank
local
you.
Gold Star.
All right, moving right along. Ms. Henson, are you ready?
I am.
All right, I get to brag about Ms. Henson a little bit. Ms. Henson and Dr. Holden, thank you very much, came to me with a proposal where Ms. Henson had been working with students to get prepared for the ACT. Ms. Henson showed me documentation with evidence that when she puts time into working with students on the ACT, their scores go up 5 to 10 points. 5 to 10 points. Ms. Henson has now decided to expand the process with a little encouragement. And she's going to work with over 200 students this next school year. Do you know what that will do for the reputation of Winton Woods, where you will be able to have students work on their ACT and increase their scores by over 5 to 10 points? No pressure, Ms. Henson.
Right.
That's a life changer for us, and that's what our district deserves. And so Ms. Henson was given this great award at this special recognition, so I'd like to read a little bit about her. Okay. She was recognized at the Celebrate Excellence Breakfast on May 24th by the Hamilton County Education Service Center. Found for her hard work and dedication and outstanding contribution to provide educational support to students. She was named the 2014 Excellent Educator for the Winton Woods School District. Dr. Holden, who was principal at Winton Woods High School in Primary North and teaching and learning, and yeah, you got about 8 jobs. This is what they say about you. Differentiation. When you enter her classroom, you will see the students engaged in a wide variety of tasks. Most assignments have multiple activities, and those activities challenge students at a variety of levels. Students are not just filling out worksheets. Her assignments have entry points for struggling learners, higher order thinking activities for more intellectual curious, and students have multiple opportunities to respond or to apply to language arts standards. Often fun, usually interesting, but always challenging. Kids recognize that she designs a great instruction. Connections. She just has a knack of explaining concepts to kids. Metaphors, analogies, literal thinking, breaking concepts into parts, reassembling concepts into bigger themes. She communicates with kids and leads them to understand, cares. I'm forever amazed at the wide variety of students who come to Ms. Barger for a hug, word of encouragement. Her best students she doesn't have in class, even students who are formerly confounding, they come to her for care and comfort. So, creativity is one of her driving forces behind humanities. She's demonstrated creativity, passion, and desire to see students connect with their communities and the outside world. Her units are interdisciplinary, real-world focused, and bent towards challenging students to work together. I would like to thank you very, very much for what you do for our students. Thank you for what you're going to do for us in the future. And you will always be with us forever, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, again, thank you very, very much for Ms. Henson, our 2014 Excellent Educator of the Year Award.
I am very excited about next year. Now I'm going to cry because I see my children out there. My children, different from my children at school, which I call them all my children, which is confusing. I'm very excited about the ACT program. I'm so thankful. And actually, I came to Mr. Smith with evidence, but he had done his research on me before I ever had a chance to show him my research. So he did his homework. I'm very excited about being able to help the students in our district because the ACT and what I do has become my passion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith, if we can take one moment, I know there are quite a few parents that are needing to leave for the concert. Feel free to be excused at this point. Music awards, I'm sorry.
Take one.
I think they all guessed it.
Everybody got one?
For those who are remaining and not attending the music awards ceremony, we will reconvene. Mr. Smith?
Next, I would like to introduce Ms. Laura Wilkie of the EF Education First Foundation, who would like to make a presentation to Winton Woods High School. Thank you, Ms. Wilkie.
All right, I'm back again this year, and I have a different reason to be here this year. I'm nominating Winton Woods High School for the EF High School Exchange Year Global Excellence Award, and I want to talk about just one aspect of the great things at Winton Woods, is that Dr. Holden's attitude with being so open to bringing in students whenever they need basically a home, a school to be their home. She's like, bring them on board. Yep. She is awesome to work with. She responds to emails so quickly. And we have 3 students this year that did not start at Winton Woods. I think that's huge. So that's why I'm nominating Winton Woods, because they are here. They've remained here. This is their home. Martina did not show up until when? The week after spring break was her first week.
Oh, wow.
And I asked her the other day, so what is it? How do you feel? Do you feel at home there? She's like, oh yeah. I mean, so comfortable here. So I think that's huge about Winton Woods. But better yet, I thought it'd be fun to hear from the students what they have to say about their experience here. They're not going to talk long, but it would be fun to hear what they say about Winton Woods. So come on up, guys.
What I have to say, like these people, it might not be like the best school. I don't think we are like the richest school, but I think the people is really, 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 really nice. Like my first week, I was kind of lost, and I already have people that was there to help me. And it's like what I told Courtney, see my husband. I learn every day something new, and I think they learn too something new from us. And it's so grateful. Like it's really, really great to be in this school, and I like it so much.
Glad you're here.
I wanted to say that I'm really grateful that I had the chance to join in second semester to this high school, that the school gave the opportunity to so many exchange students open up their doors and gives like an unlimited number of exchange students that can join. And so our school is very diverse. There are so many different cultures combined, and I think that's great for high school and also for the students to experience different cultures. And I'm also grateful for the arts program and the performing arts program, as I was a part of the musical.
Okay. So I really like this school because when I come here, all the students was very open-minded with me. I was so lost in the school, and everybody asked me, you need help, come with me, I can show you. And then another thing that I really like is the program AGS, because with this program we have the opportunity to stay with the other people, because we have a lot of group project. So in the class, you have the opportunity to stay in your group, meet your friends, do your work. So and this is what I really like.
what I have to say is that I was one of the late students, but I wasn't considered like the next exchange student. The people came to me, they asked me questions, and still people I don't know, they still come and say hello, and they're really nice to me, and I think that's something good about the school.
And just last but not least, I have to thank my host families who are basically totally awesome. I mean, honestly, none of these kids would be here without them. So we have really good people in this district, and I want to thumbs up. Thanks.
Madam President of the board, did you hear the common thread that every student used? They said our school. That's powerful. So thank you very, very much. All right. Okay.
Do we have something from the Girl Scouts?
Yes. All right. And last, under gifts, special thanks goes to is it the Mason troop?
No, it's just the Mason area, but it's
Mason
actually
area.
a parochial school.
Okay, Mason area. Western Ohio Troop 48483, who donated a check in the amount of $1,200 for purchasing 2 basketball backboards and rims for the Winton Woods Elementary School playground. The Board of Education deeply appreciates your generosity, and that concludes our district honors, recognitions, gifts, and introductions. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Since we had a brief recess, we'll move on to public comments, point 4.01. Have one from Trina Ruggless.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, the last time I came before the board, I shared a little bit with you about the success of Good Catch. But tonight, I told you I had something for you. I'd like to ask our liaisons, Ms. Jessica Miranda, to come forward, Mr. Smith and Mr. Denny, for a presentation. Yes, you do. It is this level of partnership that really helps our community move forward. So, I'd like to present a check in the amount of $4,000 to support the summer reading program. Oh, did you get it? Okay, and the last one, we do not have it here, but it is part of the actually, we don't have Carolyn here, but it is also part of the partnership, which is, and I'll give it to Mr. Smith to hold. It's a check in the amount of $1,200 to Youth Motivational Learning Center to continue with the tutoring services. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Taking them back.
No, you had that one.
Okay, we'll move forward with 5.1, approval of minutes as presented. Mr. Seymour.
Yes, tonight we only have the work session of 4:28 and the regular meeting of 4:19 and the regular meeting of 4:28 to approve.
Board, I move to approve the minutes from our special meeting, April the 28th, 2014, for the special meeting and the regular meeting, April the 28th, as well as presented.
I'll second.
Mr. Seymour, will you call the roll?
Mr. Cleary?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye.
Mr. Pennicuick?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye. Treasurer's report 6.01.
For the treasurer's report, I'll try to be brief because we're going to actually review the forecast a little bit later. But actually, our for the month ending April, year-to-date revenues are at 38.9, with year-to-date expenditures at 33.7. So you can see we're running revenues over expenditures, which is good for the year. You can see that I presented the expenditures by object and function again for you, and that all funds are 15.7 million unencumbered balance, with general fund being 14 million of that total.
Any questions? Okay, we'll move those to audit. Investments 7.01.
For the investment report, we had 2 CDs come due during the month for $250,000 each, totaling $500,000. With the help of Mrs. O'Connor, we are now going to join Star Ohio Plus and try a new investment program here at Winton Woods and try to increase our interest revenues. As you can see, we earned $1,350 for the month.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
Mr. Seymour?
Mr. Cleary?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye.
Mr. Pennicuick?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye. Fiscal year revised 5-year forecast.
I just have a little brief overview. All I'm going to try to do is, especially for the new board members and also for the veteran board members, just bring you up to date. What did I actually change from the one you adopted in October? And what are the major factors that I put into place to resubmit to the Ohio Department of Education? Bear in mind, we will go through this whole process after appropriations, and we'll have a whole new forecast next year. But in resubmitting to the Department of Ed, I just want to go over just a few key things as to what changed from October.
Excuse me, Randy, you may need to stand at the mic so they can pick you up on, thank you.
Okay. So, oh, too fast, Mrs. O'Connor. Okay. Oh. Maybe I should take over the clicker. On the revenue side, as you know, we started all-day kindergarten in the fall when we were working on our 5-year forecast. It was anticipated, as you know, the funds on student full-time equivalency. Well, in the past, we were only getting half of an FTE for every kindergarten child, but we went to all-day kindergarten. And at the time, only a few districts in the state had done that. We were told, kind of led to believe that any new funding formula, if we increased our ADM, we would not only get the increase in our old ADM, but also any additional ADM. Unfortunately, Winton Woods fell under what was called now a new terminology called a cap. We used to be under a guarantee where whatever we got in 2009, we were guaranteed to get each year, and Winton Woods was always on the guarantee under the funding formula. With the new funding formula, we fell into a new era called the cap. Just so you know, 6 out of 612 school districts, 523 are either on a guarantee or a cap. So you can see how the guarantee is impacting the districts. What the cap meant is we could not receive more than 7% than what we did the prior year. So I had to go in and adjust my forecast by what I felt we should get for all-day kindergarten, and we will not realize those funds with a 7% increase until 2016. And in 2016 is a new funding biennium. So we do hope that the increase stays for the new funding biennium and the rules. On the expenditure side, in October, we are on target, as you know. In October, we wouldn't know if we would reach our goal of a 4% budget savings. I believe we're on target. We have 2 months left. For the district, a 4% budget savings is $1.6 million. We also, since October, have settled with both of our organizations for our classified and our certified staff. And for 2015 and 2016, the board has agreed to a 2.95% increase in wages and has reinstated step advances for all employees, which means we were under a total freeze for 3 years where no one got, they stayed constant. Also, when we discovered that the personal tangible reimbursement of $700,000 would still be there for this current biennium, the $700,000 for building maintenance and technology remains through 2015, and then we'll see the status of that in 2016 when we update that. So where are we at in our forecast? You can see that it's 2016 before our expenditures begin to exceed our revenues. And you can see that our cash reserves carry us through with a ending cash balance of approximately $4 million as of right now for 2018. Revenues, when your revenues are short of your expenditures is when you start to eat up your cash reserves. So you can see that currently 2016 through 2018 starts to utilize your cash balance to fund the operations. And as a result, your cash balance will deplete and start diminishing through that period when you're utilizing it. And as you know, the cycle of operating levies, you monitor when you hit your revenues, fall short of your expenditures. You got to judge when your cash reserves are going to be utilized to fund your programming, and you obviously don't want that down to zero. And if I were to guess today, which is only 10% accurate with state funding, I believe we're on cycle to not have an operating levy as of right now until we have to replace our 10-year emergency levy. I don't believe I could be conjecturing out to say that we will probably not be asking our voters for additional operating funds. Now, as you know, the bond levy is totally different from operating. So if we proceed with bond, we would never be able to utilize that for any of this programs, and that would not even be part of your 5-year forecast. Those funds are locked in for a specific purpose. That's it.
I have one question. There was a 3% raise given to the teachers. How does that impact this, or was that part of this?
Right. I included it in for you. Your total expenditures, as you can see, are escalating for 2015 and 16. I didn't break it out between salaries and other expenditures, but your raise cost approximately $900,000. That includes the salary, and it also includes the increased cost of retirement that goes with that, workers' comp, and Medicare. As salaries go up, those 3 items also escalate.
So that shows where it's going into the red.
That's, yes, if you have and also the increments were reinstated. So along with your raise that you awarded your employee groups with unfreezing the steps, it's approximately $1.5 million. So it costs you approximately $1.5 million for 2015 and it will cost you $3 million in 2016 because it's compounds. But I have included that in what you see here. That is something that we wouldn't have included in October. Bear in mind, since you asked a good question, 2017 and 2018 only include step increases. There's nothing included currently for cost of living. Old habits die young. I don't put raises in before they materialize. So.
That's good.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Anything else?
And Mr. Seymour, I wanted to thank you for the narrative that goes with the budget. It's really helpful to see that how we've been able to manage over the last at least 3 years in relationship to changing funding models, where you've pointed out kind of where our funding has been reduced, but yet we were still able to run a balanced budget. Some of those items were what you brought to our attention, the kindergarten, kindergarten one, tangible personal property taxes at $2.2 million. That's a giant dollar amount that we'll be losing, and that's coming up in 2016. Increase in our health insurance costs. So thank you for the narrative that went along with the budget.
Since you brought up health insurance costs, we would like, as maybe the audience, a lot of the reason the board was gracious in the 2.95% increase was that our employees agreed to a high deductible health care plan, which means that the employees have to funnel out of pocket $5,000 before our insurance coverage will cover any of that. So it's not like a windfall for I think all employees now understand that salary and health care go hand in hand, and it's all compensation. And we can't continue to funnel 10% increases into health care each year and continue to give raises. So we were able to maintain a 6% increase in health care by the employees agreeing to that plan. And I'd also point out they had the option to stay in a traditional plan, but they are paying a hefty premium to maintain that choice.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour.
Madam President, I move to approve the updated fiscal year 2014 revised 5-year forecast as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Seymour?
Mr. Cleary?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye.
Mr. Pennicuick?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye. 7.03, resolution requesting the Ohio School Facilities Commission to establish the new scope, estimated basic project cost, and local share in the Classroom Facilities Assistance Program.
I'll try to summarize why we're revisiting this for
Thank
you. And if you have any questions, Mr. Denny can also help. As you know, in the fall, you passed a resolution where you would agree to be on the ballot by becoming a lapsed district in May. We did not do that. We chose not to put it on the ballot as leadership. The board is a leadership team. And in doing so, that kind of, and even though Mr. Denny notified them, we didn't really have a formal type of resolution to continue. So in working with our legal counsel that you've retained for our bonds and the Ohio School Construction Commission's legal counsel, they determined that it would be our best interest to revisit that resolution since it kind of has not been fulfilled, and put on a new resolution. And this resolution basically requests that we renew our status with the Ohio School Construction Commission, and that this would secure our state funding from them because we have renewed our status, rather than it was a legal advice that we're directing and asking the board to resubmit and renew our status to help us secure those funds.
So in essence, we're talking about a change of language and not necessarily a change of practice.
What do you think?
It's a little bigger than just
Originally, we had went into lapsed with a promise to go on the ballot in May. That was your resolution.
And we chose not to go on in May.
Right. So that was passed in September. This is going to go before the controlling board in July. We wouldn't have any resolution for them to consider at this point.
And this resolution then enables them to come back with millage and the like?
No, what this does is makes your on-council feel comfortable that the state is fulfilling their obligation to allow you to get your 33%.
So this doesn't guarantee it? The OFCC funds? By
This
any
is to
means?
secure those funds.
Okay.
It's a somewhat of a great, I believe we're the first district to pass a resolution and then not,
Fulfill it.
I didn't want to say that.
I'm all about truth.
Okay, as we followed the OFCC's protocol, we followed adopting their resolutions, and this is the way they stack the resolutions up.
There'll be other resolutions as we proceed, but
Much greater clarity, because it's good to know that there's a commitment from the state, at least to match it, that 32 or 33%.
and basically, your bond counsel to represent you would like this resolution passed.
And to be clear, we still won't put a shovel in the ground until the public votes yes. So
Oh,
this-
yes, this has nothing to do
Right.
with proceeding. Yeah, this is just to secure state dollars in the event that you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
One other question I have, is there a cost to the school district to do this resolution?
No.
No, okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Madam President, I move to approve the resolution requesting the Ohio School Facilities Commission to establish the new scope, estimated basic project cost, and local share in the Classroom Facilities Assistance Program.
Second?
Is that Mrs. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Cleary?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye.
Mr. Pennycott?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye. 7.04, resolution requesting fiscal officer to certify maximum maturity of bonds.
Now you're beginning to pass resolutions that will initiate the process to begin to go on the ballot. This language will determine the maximum maturity to assist the county auditor to know how to assess the millage. And basically what we're doing here is the treasurer, your treasurer is going to certify 37 years. And how that's basically determined is that buildings are 40, and your furniture and fixtures are 10 years. It's estimated that furniture and fixture will be 10% of your total bond, so they average them out and let you go 37 years to maturity. Meaning 10 years for furniture and fixture, 40 for buildings, and you get 37 years. So with that in mind, I'm asking you to basically certify for a total of $76.6 million in local funds, of which $69 million are building and $7.6 million are equipment and furniture. And I'm asking you to allow me to certify 37 years for maturity.
Questions?
Madam President, I move to approve the resolution that he just referenced.
Is there a second?
Second?
Mr. Cleary?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye.
Mr. Pennycott?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye. And 7.05, resolution declaring the necessity of bond issue, certifying the same to the county auditor and Board of Elections, and submitting the question to the electors of the school district.
Now, before you go through and explain this, you can include my question in
Okay.
your response. Okay, I got a question regarding the necessity to bring this bond issue back on to the Board of Elections. I thought we had already done that. So can you just explain to us why this is coming before the board again? I guess my question is, did we already approve for this to be for the Board of Elections? And so now we have another resolution for the Board of Elections. So
Okay.
when you explain that part.
Okay, I will. I'll try, and if I don't succeed, tell me.
Okay.
This basically is, first of all, we've done nothing, I've done nothing with the county auditor, other than ask our bond counsel, which you've already secured. We talked to the county auditor, because as you work on this, to try to see what you're talking about for a possible bond issue, we get our bond counsel to give us a ballpark interest rate, and we need to get our evaluation. What kind of evaluation are they going to certify? Because we don't want to go out to forums or have Mr. Denny put without, like, we don't know it, you know. So we kind of touch base with them to know that the current evaluation that's been published will be the evaluation that's certified. So have we talked to the auditor's office? Yes, just to determine the evaluation. What you're doing here is we're a real nice 3-page resolution, but simplifying. You're asking the Hamilton County Auditor if you put on a bond issue that is this amount of principal at a 4.75% interest rate, based on what you think the value is, what is that millage? So basically what you're doing here is it's saying you have a necessity or a need to ask the county auditor to give you a millage figure based on the 3 variables, bond amount, interest rate, and maturity. You just gave me permission for a 37-year maturity. We are estimating the interest rate to be at 4.75. That's included in your resolution. The only unknown in this resolution that hasn't been certified is your evaluation. And that's the Honorable Dusty Rhodes decision. So what we're doing here is sending this resolution down. He will send back what he thinks the millage is, and then you will be doing a resolution called to proceed. You're proceeding to go on the ballot with the language that he has prepared. Does that help?
Yes, it did.
Good.
Thank you.
Madam President, it probably would be appropriate. I move to approve the resolution determining to proceed with a bond issue November the 4th, 2014.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Questions on the motion?
I have some comments. While the board, we've been in a myriad of minutes, and our staff, we've been in an unbelievable amount of meetings over the past really 3 years. I'm convicted that this is something that we as a board have to do regardless of whether we support this issue or not. This is an item that needs to go to the public, and the public needs to vote on this. And I know there's been lots of debate among the board and in the community. Gee, do we really want to raise our taxes? Do we want to? You know, that's not up to the board. That's not up to us. It's up to us to look at what's reasonable to bring to the community. And this is a kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity. It may exist for a couple years, but this is really a once in a lifetime opportunity to vet this with the community and communicate what our need is and put it in the voters' hands. I honestly believe that's the right thing for us to do. And I know it's been a lot of work to get us to the point where we are right now. I'd also like to add that, you know, when in our discussions and in many meetings, you know, we've looked around at all of our neighboring communities. We've looked at communities that have already built. North College Hill, Mount Healthy, Three Rivers, the city of Cincinnati, Madeira, Wyoming, Marymount, Princeton, Fairfield, Ross, Lakota, Monroe, Hamilton City Schools, Edgewood, Talawanda, Middletown, Springboro, Lebanon, Mason, Kings, Little Miami. I could keep going. These are districts that did the same, they went through the same process we went through. We vetted it. It's our responsibility to take it to the community, to give them the facts and say, here's where the facts lie. You need to decide whether or not you support this and go to the polls on November, whatever date it's going to be, and vote. So I just kind of felt convicted I needed to say that this is the right thing for myself as a board member. It needs to go back to the community, and we've been engaging the community more and more and more over the last 3 years in relationship to what the need is. So one, I want to applaud Mr. Denny and Mr. Smith and the executive team that has gathered the data to present to the community, whether it was new building data, remodeling data, whatever the data was, and there is just a boatload of it. And between now and November, there's going to be 1 million more questions. And we as a board are probably going to be even more engaged than we've been in the last 5 months in this journey, because people are going to ask questions that we probably won't know how to answer. We're going to have to rely on the staff to get the data to pour back into the community. So.
Yes, sir.
Nicely put, Mr. Cleary. Thank you. You've prompted me in talking about we need to take this to the voters. The voters have to weigh in. I would like to here and now state where I am. Well, these 3 resolutions that we passed tonight are very procedural, not very exciting. But absent an approval of these minutes tonight, or these resolutions tonight, and the follow-on resolution that we will have once we get the word back from the Hamilton County Auditor, to not vote yes on those would not only not take it to the public, it would say to the public that I, as a member of this community, am comfortable with, for example, the ramps that we saw at one of our buildings between 2 levels of the building. The ramps are so steep, you can't get, the students in wheelchairs can't go, it exceeds the slope required by law. I'm not comfortable with that. That's not something that can be fixed with a coat of paint. And you can't go to a building and somehow magically raise one wing so that the slope is not so severe. I'm no longer comfortable, well, I never was, but I've thought about it much more. I'm no longer comfortable that we do not have fire sprinklers in the buildings where 3,600 students come and 300 or 400 staff people come every day for their work. That's not fixable with a coat of paint. That's not fixable with simple repair. That's why, another illustration of why I am personally for building afresh. We have seen in the last year, 24 students died in a school building in Oklahoma as a result of a tornado. That community has learned a lot about construction technique to make the building more resistant. We had a tornado here 40 years ago that pretty well did end Xenia. We could have that. I am no longer comfortable our students being in buildings that do not take advantage of what we know about materials and civil engineering to make those buildings more survivable when those unspeakable things happen. Madam President, I am no longer comfortable with our buildings, the access. We have retrofitted in some buildings some steps, some ramps, some elevators, but it doesn't approach access with dignity. It approaches access, but not access with dignity. And if you have a student who has some mobility issues, and this student's class is moving from a classroom on this level to a classroom on this level. 25 students go directly there. One student has to go all the way to the other end of the building to find the aid, come up, come all the way back. In the meantime, they've missed something. They've missed the socialization. They've missed the first 10 minutes of the class. We can do better. We must do better for the future students, the students that are not yet born, that will benefit from our leadership in taking this to the public. I am no longer comfortable, well, I never was comfortable, but I'm especially uncomfortable as we think about physical security in the wake of shootings at Sandy Hook and Columbine and any number of buildings. As Dr. Holden reminds us, the high school has 56 exterior doors. We can do better, but we can't fix that with a coat of paint or moving a door or two. Madam President, these are just the top of the head illustrations that I am very committed as one board member, as one member of the community, to do whatever it takes to help the community understand the benefits that they will enjoy, the benefits that kids, students yet unborn will enjoy. Yes, they'll want to talk about their taxes. Sure, and we should talk about those. But we also have to highlight what tomorrow's students get for today's leadership. I'm glad you prompted me to say that.
Well, I must say that it's good to hear two of the most senior board members state how uncomfortable they are with the status quo and what has been for quite some time, because it's no longer enough for our students today, and certainly not for our students tomorrow. Mr. Seymour, I believe a motion has been moved and seconded. Will you call the roll?
Mr. Cleary?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye.
Mr. Pennycuff?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye. 8.01, reports of the superintendent.
For your information and discussion, there are 6 school activities in 6 different schools, excuse me. I would be leery if I went to the staff and student dodgeball game, though, at IS. You probably want to stay away from that one. But for the others, they will be exciting events that I'm sure you guys would love to be part of. The other good part, I think the students and staff really love seeing the board members attend those events because I think it tells them that you believe in what they do. These are out of the classroom activities, and I think it just makes it for a very wholesome experience. Again, I want to go on record to say stay away from the dodgeball.
At least it's not a dumping booth.
I'm not much taller than most of the students, so I have to be very careful which ones I attend.
Thank you, Madam. 9.01, exempt employee salary schedules. To approve the exempt employee salary schedules effective July 1st, 2014, and a step placement for all exempt employees effective July 1st, 2014.
Madam,
Go ahead.
hearing no other motion, Madam President, I move to approve the salary schedules that as presented by the superintendent.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Questions on the motion, Mr. Seymour?
Mr. Cleary?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye.
Mr. Pennycuff?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye.
9.02, nurse salary schedules. To approve the nurse salary schedule effective August 1st, 2014, and August 1st, 2015, as presented.
Madam President, I move to approve the nurse salary schedule effective August 1st, 2014 and August 1st, 2015 as presented by the superintendent.
Second.
Mr. Seymour?
Mr. Cleary?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye.
Mr. Pennycuff?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye.
Madam President, 9.03, psychologist salary schedule. To approve the psychologist salary schedule effective August 1st, 2014 and August 1st, 2015, as presented.
there a motion?
Madam President, I'll motion to approve the psychologist salary schedule effective August 1st, 2014 and August 1st, 2015 as presented by the superintendent. Ooh,
Second.
almost got all that in there with one breath.
Mr. Seymour?
Mr. Cleary?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye.
Mr. Pennycuick?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye.
9.04, substitute rate salary schedule, to approve the substitute rate salary schedule effective July 1st, 2014, as presented.
Is there a motion?
I move to approve the substitute teacher salary rates schedule effective July the 1st, 2014.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Burns? Mr. Cleary?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye.
Mr. Pennycuick?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye.
9.05, personnel schedules. Schedule A, resignations and retirements. B, certificated employment. C, support staff. D, extra duty and supplemental employment. E, leaves. G, suspension of contracts, reduction in force. And N, 9, certificated layoffs. To approve the personnel schedules as presented, Madam President.
I move to approve the personnel schedules as presented by the superintendent.
Second.
Ooh,
Go ahead.
same time.
I'll give it to Mrs. Miranda. Mr. Cleary?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye.
Mr. Pennycuick?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye.
Madam President, prior to asking the board's approval for 9.06 new course proposals, I would like to read the course rationale.
Please.
Spanish for Spanish speakers is a course that will allow native speakers to focus on learning linguistics and a concentration in the culture of various Spanish-speaking countries. This will be an in-depth study of the grammatical structures of the language, including the variations in Latin America and Castilian Spanish. The language will be studied through various works of literature of the Spanish-speaking world. It will be geared toward increasing literacy for our native Spanish speakers. The emphasis is on written communication and reading comprehension. The course is conducted entirely in Spanish. We believe this course is necessary to better serve the needs of our Hispanic population. The course increases rigor for this group who are already well versed in the oral and oral components of the language and thus do not need the conversational speaking component embedded in the traditional Spanish classes at all levels. It will allow students with Spanish fluency to perfect the skills that they have and advance their technical skills with the Spanish language.
Much like those of us taking English.
Absolutely. So the recommendation is to approve the new course proposals: middle school Spanish for Spanish speakers 1, Spanish speakers 2, and I will go on with the financial management and Act English as presented. ACT, excuse me.
I will move to approve the new course proposals. Middle school Spanish for Spanish speakers 1, Spanish for Spanish speakers 2, financial management 1, ACT English as presented by the superintendent.
Second. Madam President, if I could make a comment.
Please do.
This is kind of surprising when I saw this come up, and we've had a little bit of discussion, and actually quite a while ago you came and kind of prompted me to be looking into this a little bit more. This has been like a missing link, and to say that all of a sudden it dawned on us that this is a critical turning point for those students. So I'm really happy to support this.
I agree. Thank you very much, Dr. Holden.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Mr. Seymour?
Mr. Cleary?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye.
Mr. Pennycuick?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye.
9.08,
7.
7.
Resolution authorizing are we not doing 7? Did we
I believe it's a resolution authorizing the
Yeah.
membership.
Okay.
Those two are combined, Madam
I
President.
see, okay.
That was
Okay.
taken off.
Okay. We have something that's, yeah, it's still in board docs.
Mine's still there
I
too.
believe I believe this is a housekeeping item that we're required if we want to continue in the Ohio State Athletic Association. We have to say so again afresh each year.
Yes.
Madam President, I move to adopt the resolution authorizing the 2014-15 membership in the Ohio High School Athletic Association.
I second.
Mr. Seymour?
Mr. Cleary?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye.
Mr. Pennicott?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye.
Prior to the approval of the 9.09 summer 2000 roofing proposal, I'd like to make sure we give special recognition to Mr. Denny for his tenacity in negotiating to approve the roofing proposal and awarding of contract as presented, Madam President. 9.09.
So moved.
Second? Sorry, I thought there was a motion already.
No, was
I
reading.
apologize, I thought she was gonna call for discussion.
I'm sorry.
first.
Any questions on the motion?
I have some I have a question, and maybe Mr. Denny can answer it. Our preschool Head Start facility, and you knew the board was probably going to ask a question about that one. That's a building that we currently lease out.
Right.
Maybe you could give us more details on why is that a repair or a fix?
It's actually a replacement of a section of the roof. That building still belongs to the district, although we have a very advantageous, and good evening, board, I'm sorry. Thank you for the opportunity to talk. It's a very advantageous financial situation for the district, and we've had Hamilton County Educational Service Center in there for, I believe, going on a decade. And they have made multiple improvements to that building without, certainly with consulting with us, but without us even asking them to do so, simply to better the conditions for the students that they serve that are from our community largely in that space. So we actually had a pretty significant leak over the nurses area, and I had quite a few conversations with the Hamilton County business manager about it, and it just became necessary to replace it to avoid health conditions for people occupying the building, for which the district still ultimately bears responsibility and liability.
Do you know what's and maybe not exactly, but do you know what the term is on the lease? Are we 3 more years in the lease, or
We
5 more years?
just renewed a 3-year lease with the county.
In your estimation, does the cost add that amount of value to the building? If we put, for example, if we put this on the ballot if we put building on the ballot in November, does this increase the value of the property by approximately that dollar amount?
Not exactly. You'd have to actually look at the valuation formulas, but it's close. It'll add that amount of value. Probably about 75-80% of that value would be assessed. It depends on the assessor, honestly, but it's a brand new section of roofing.
But that does prompt another question for me in the event that, as we move forward towards the bond levy in November, 2 of the locations, Primary South and the high school, would ultimately be affected if the voters say yes. So would this somewhere near $195,000 in total between those 2 be throwaway if we end up tearing those buildings down and rebuilding?
This is the difficult question.
Yeah. And I asked
There's risk inherent in owning buildings. Yeah. There's risk inherent in building new.
Well, let me ask this another way
certainly.
then. If we move forward and the voters say yes, how long would we still keep the current buildings before there would be a tear down and students would move out of those facilities?
If we stuck a shovel in the ground today, you're still looking at 2.5 to 3 years. Okay. And we know we wouldn't put a shovel in the ground until, even if the voters say yes in November, it would be January before you could probably begin construction after the initial design phase. The other thing I'd add to the Hamilton County building, the Kemper Heights site, is we generate a lot in revenue there, and enough to cover the costs. 1 year's revenue is enough to cover the costs of the roof repair that we've done. And you've got about 9 years behind that of good business relationships with the county. And potential students. That's very, very accurate. Thank you, Mr. Smith. as we do generate students from that Head Start program that actually enter our kindergarten classrooms. The repairs we're doing now are absolutely 100% like critically necessary, or we wouldn't engage in them. We would try to do more break fix, but we just simply can't with some of these roofs. And some of it was this winter. It's a very, very difficult winter. The same thing that happened to the roads happened to the roofs.
I was part of that tour.
Yes,
I saw
ma'am.
for myself, so I understand.
Well,
I appreciate the questions. I'm sorry, Dr.
I'd
Johnson.
just like to add that whether we move forward with building new buildings or not, you can't let the ones that you're living in now fall down around you. So if this is a repair that needs to be done, we can't have the roof falling in on the kids that are in there trying to learn.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I mean, regardless of whether we move forward with building new buildings or if this is a repair, if it's a repair that, I've walked through those buildings and they're all, the roofs are leaking on just about every building. And if this is something that needs to be done, it needs to be done.
Yeah, I think what you're implying is being asked to spend money on this just brings out the urgency of getting
Absolutely.
better designed buildings, better designed roofs, and so forth. I mean, we all have the image of seeing those yards and yards and yards of plastic funneling water down to trash cans on the day that, on the Saturday morning that we did our tour a couple of months ago. Not exactly the model that you want to present. Yeah.
Are these funds currently available in our, have they been earmarked?
These will be earmarked for next year as the process goes.
Yeah, these are July 1 monies for capital improvement. And we have almost 12 acres of roofing in the district, so it's a pretty big,
Puts it in perspective.
it's a pretty big animal. Yeah.
Mr. Smith, Mr. Denny, thank you.
Thank you.
You had good answers to what our perceived questions were, and we just want to feel confident that we as board members are being fiscally responsible.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
There's been a motion and a second.
Mr. Cleary?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye.
Mr. Pennycuff?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye. Board of Education reports 10.01, Mr. Pennycuff.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I want to do something different tonight in the legislative report to take advantage of a current publication, and there's a bit of a lull in activity at the state level. But Board, I want to call your attention to the issue of the American School Board Journal that you hopefully received. If you didn't, or you can no longer find it, I made copies of the two articles to which I want to refer tonight. The first article is entitled "Weathering the Storm." You recall, Board, in the March meeting I mentioned that I had been asked to provide some data that was going to be used in testimony before Congress. This article is a recap of the planning and the execution of lobbying on our behalf for more sanity and funding for IDEA and Title I. We're not mentioned by name, but the data that we provided was critical to design. So as you read this article, it's called "Weathering the Storm," you can see the fingerprints of Winton Woods on this. The other article to which I want to call your attention and to the public, this weekend was the 60th anniversary of the Supreme Court decision, Brown versus Board of Education. And without that decision, this district wouldn't exist in the way it does. This district wouldn't have the students that it has today. This district, excuse me, wouldn't have the mix of board members, probably wouldn't have other valued employees doing work. But it's not just a celebration of 60 years. The point of this article, referred to as separate and unequal, talks about demographics and economics resegregating our schools. It's a very sobering article that many of the gains, some of us refer to them as gains, many of the gains that were put in place and then backed up with National Guard troops and all sorts of pushing, some of those are being eroded and taken away by politics, Supreme Court decisions, state legislature decisions. This article is a sobering article, and I commend it to your reading. And members of the public, I know you're not recipients of this magazine. If you would like a copy of the article, I made 6 or 7 copies tonight for handing out. 60 years ago this weekend. That concludes my report, Madam President.
Thank you, sir. Great Oaks Technical Center report, Mr. Cleary.
Thank you, Madam President. Each year, the Great Oaks Board of Directors honors students who have distinguished themselves throughout the year with their academic and career pathway achievements. These are student leaders on campus who have been successful in state and national student competitions. Around 400 guests, who included outstanding students with their families, instructors, attended a dinner and recognition event at Scarlet Oaks. It was my first meeting last week. It was a very busy meeting, and it was fun to see our graduating students. I had commented to Mrs. Burns when we came in, I have a graduation that I missed tonight, but the Diamond Oaks graduation is tonight, the Laurel Oaks is tomorrow night, Live Oaks is the following night, and Scarlet Oaks is the night after that. So
You'll be a little busy.
I'll be at graduations for the next three evenings. The Board of Directors of Great Oaks named Harry Schneider, presently Director of Adult Workforce Development, as the next Great Oaks President and CEO. He will assume the role as Dr. White's contract ends this summer. Good transition plans in place, and they work really well together, so I'm sure it will come off without a hitch. That's all, Madam President. Board?
Thank you. Board motions and recommendations, are there any for the board this evening? Hearing none, comments from Board of Education and the superintendent?
I have some comments.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, first, I would like to say that the Winton Woods High School celebrated their 23rd annual academic achievement. Mr. Cleary and I were both there for their underclassmen on Thursday, May the 15th. And I got to witness over 150 students be recognized for academic achievement across all disciplines, for perfect attendance, for honor roll. And I just wanted to say that Dr. Holden and the team of administrators and educators did an excellent job at highlighting the students and as they strive toward academic excellence. And there's another event coming up this coming Thursday, which is May the 22nd at 7 at the high school to celebrate the graduates with senior recognition night. So just want to invite the community and everybody to come out and to celebrate our seniors as they get ready to embark on their next part of their journey. The other thing I wanted to say was the Winton Woods High School football team had a carnival this past Saturday, May the 17th, and in spite of the unseasonably cold weather, you can't guess that it's going to be cold and you need a jacket in May. Right. But anyway, everyone had a great time, and of course the dunking booth was the highlight. I applaud the teachers and administrators and give them major kudos that sacrifice themselves to be in the hot seat, as it would be the cold seat, for a worthy cause. And I know they have another event coming up, a golf outing on May the 31st. So if you play golf and you want to support, the football team, then get in contact. I think it's Kim Sherman that takes care of most of those things. Just call the athletic building. And the last thing was just to thank Mrs. Ruggless and Good Catch for coming in and presenting. That money is going to go a long way to help academics in our school district. I know she's very passionate about making sure that she can do what she can do to support our students and the third grade guarantee. And I just wanted to make sure to thank her for all of her hard work that she puts in for our students, because she doesn't have to. Like Mr. Smith has said, we have some wonderful parents that put in, enormous amounts of time, and we need to just be very aware that what they do, we appreciate. We want them to know we appreciate.
Absolutely.
So, that's it.
Thank you very much. Any other comments?
Yes, Madam President. I had the pleasure of meeting with all of the varsity coaches about the transition program regarding the GPA. Most of them are taller than I am, and they outweigh me significantly. But as I stood there, they are on board.
Great.
They are very excited because they believe that the young men and women can rise to any occasion. But I think we have to make sure that we build the platform the right way. So I was very excited about how they received the information.
That's great.
So,
That's
thank
great.
you.
As we said, our student athletes are students first.
Absolutely.
Yes. That's wonderful. And I just want to throw a reminder that tomorrow evening, you will be center stage, as we will have our inaugural State of the Schools address given by our superintendent. I'm truly looking forward to this, and I don't think it's necessarily information that we haven't heard, but to sometimes put it all together and deliver it all condensed and concisely, it's pretty impactful.
Yeah, I won't be able to sleep tonight. Just excited.
So we're looking forward to that. So anyone who can, please do join us at the intermediate school for that. It's 6:30 tomorrow evening, correct?
Yes.
Any additional comments? Are there representatives from the Winton Woods Teachers Association? How about anyone from OPSI? Seeing none, board, is there a need for an executive session?
Madam President, there is. I move that we go into executive session to discuss a matter involving employment, termination, and conditions of employment.
Second.
Mr. Seymour?
Mr. Cleary?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye.
Mr. Pennicuick?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye. Seeing that we anticipate no further business after the executive session, we will not return to this room and will adjourn at that time. On further review, we do anticipate coming out to have a vote after our executive session, so we will reconvene immediately after that.
Thank you.